I want to welcome everyone to our next Women Lead webinar series. And today I am delighted as we have our next topic. And this is a really hot topic for any of you that have a group of people or a community. And our topic today is building a community around your brand. And with us today as our thought leader is Debra Simpson. And Debra is the Executive Director of Speakers Guild USA. And what I'm excited about to share is that Debra is also a huge supporter and has been somebody that has helped our association do incredible things by building a community. So Debra, say hello, and we're excited about the topic today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. It's my pleasure to share what I'm passionate about, using these new tools and technology to build and nurture your community.
I'm excited because I know you are instrumental in why we're starting our webinar series. So we'll give credit where credit is due, and that would be to you. So I can't wait to hear what you have to share. It's all you, my dear.
All right. Well, let's just go for it then. So in building a community around your brand, we have a lot of really new tools that we can use to nurture our community, to showcase our community, to inform our community. And they're just really cool, and they're really pretty easy to use. So let's get started with one of the foundations on building your community, and that is through blogging. I remember back in, it would be 2005, and I discovered blogging. And I really took to it because I'd come out of McGraw-Hill after working with them to build their new media division. I was building the websites that supported the school textbooks. So I saw blogging, and I saw how easy it was to be able to be a person who maybe doesn't embrace technology, because we got a lot of creative people where technology is not second nature. A blog is just so easy to use, and I remember people in the business community kind of snickering and laughing at me when I said blog, because no one had heard the word before. So blogging is definitely the best way to begin establishing an online community. And one of the basic reasons that you should blog, whether you're building a community or not, is because it generates organic traffic, and the search engines love a blog. So a blog is pretty cool if you have a WordPress site, and that's what we do with Connected Women of Influence. You can bring people in to be guest bloggers if you like. I do that over at my Speakers Guild USA site. The members have the opportunity, if they'd like, to come in and blog. So not only does it generate organic traffic and help us with our SEO, it also establishes our business and our brand as an authority in our given field. So I can pretty comfortably blog about WordPress, about blogging, because I have a lot of experience with WordPress. I've been a developer. Actually, I built my podcast site, NorthSanDiegoBusiness.com, in January of 2007. So I've been with WordPress for over 10 years now, and it's a great tool to be able to use. So when you are blogging, you're definitely sharing your expertise with the world. And because the blogs have a really great feature, we call it the RSS feed. And RSS just means really simple syndication. And that translates to you as once you can create your blog post, when you share that link on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, some of the bigger sites, you'll see that it automatically pulls up an image for you, and it makes it really easy for people to get your content automatically, because they can also use a tool like Feedly, FEEDLY.com, and be able to bring in blog content. So I subscribe to the Connected Women of Influence blog. I subscribe to all my speakers' blogs. I subscribe to a lot of blogs because I've been doing this for a long time. What that means when you're able to subscribe to a blog is that I can go to one place. So I use Feedly as that one place. When I go to my Feedly account, I see all the content people have created. So blogging lets you get your content into the hands of people who are really interested in what you're doing and want to follow you because they recognize you as the expert in your field. It also establishes relationships that can create referrals, and it can cement your reputation. So you can do cross-blogging. Maybe you blog for a strategic partner, and the strategic partner comes and blogs over at yours blog. And now you're spreading the wealth around a little bit more, so your blog gets a little more variety. If you're a really great blogger and your blogger gets a lot of traffic, you have a lot of influence. So you can be invited to conventions and events that are particular to your industry. So, and also going over to a blog. So say you go over to someone who's a strategic partner of yours, and you see a great blog post. You could do it at connectedwomenofinfluence.com. You can comment on that blog post and add more value to the blog post itself through your comments or establishing a relationship. I could go to Michelle's site and I could see a really great blog post. Maybe it would be on something like doing this online webinar. And I could comment and say, you know, it's been my experience in online webinars, blah, 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 blah. And now you're adding value to Michelle's post, but you're also setting yourself apart as a recognized expertise in the field, whatever you're commenting about. So blogging is a great way for you to advance your message. Then that syndicating option I talked about, well, social media is another great way for you to be able to syndicate your blog content over to your social media sites. With WordPress, there's a plugin from the Jetpack suite of plugins. There's a plugin called Publicize, which lets you, once you hit the publish button on your blog, automatically send that out to your social media sites. Although you don't want to do that to Facebook, because Facebook likes you to share the link over there personally and not automate it. But when we move over to Facebook now, it is the largest social networking site that we have. And it could be that LinkedIn is maybe your preferred social network. So let's just use the term interchangeably, or if that's even a word, but we'll cover LinkedIn and Facebook as the same thing, because when you're B2C, it might be easier to find your consumer on Facebook. When you're B2B, it's obviously LinkedIn is the preferred social networking tool or social media tool to use. They both, I believe, LinkedIn also offers advertising. The beauty about Facebook is you can niche down on the advertising. But a Facebook business page gives your business visibility, and that's really great to be able to showcase what your business is doing. But what you might want to think about is rather than having a business, I'm sorry, I pulled up the wrong PowerPoint on my screen to see my notes, but I can just go with the flow on this one. So what you want to do is maybe create a group for your community. So if you have a membership community that you're working on, you have trusted advisors, if you create a group over at Facebook, what that allows you to do is have some private interaction. Your group can be public or it can be private if you just want to keep it private between certain partners that you might be using, referral partners or strategic partners. But building a community around a group lets you go ahead and pose questions to the group. It lets you create polls or surveys in the group. It gives the group an opportunity to contribute to the overall message for whatever that is, whatever you posted. And it lets them also network inside the group with other members of Facebook. And LinkedIn is the same way as well. They have groups over there that you can create. So I think that Facebook is a really great way, and LinkedIn, to kind of bring your group into a special private area where maybe they get in that private area only special content, maybe special discussions that you don't do on your public page or profile. And LinkedIn does have a business page for your business as well. So it does give you another presence on the web. Anytime you Google your business name or your personal name, you should see your LinkedIn and Facebook, Twitter, Google+. You should see those social media sites come up on the first, maybe the second page, depending on how heavily you use them. But it makes it a lot easier for people to be able to find you and find what you're doing when you use social media. You can also drive the traffic from your page and even from your groups to other websites. So you can easily, like I said, share your blog content. When you're finished with your webinar, very easy to share your link in any of your pages or your groups, and that entices people to go over and look at whatever that asset is that you're sharing. So if you've got a really great video like Michelle's going to have when we finish this up, she's going to be sharing that on social media. If she has a feature that allows her to actually, what we do, we call it embedding, and we embed the video into a page. So, you know, when you go over to anybody's website and you see a video and you can play it right there, that means we've embedded it into the page. So it's a lot easier with some of these tools to drive more traffic, not only to your website, but over to your assets like your YouTube page or your other social media sites as well. And it gives you another great way to reach your audience. You can get in there. I've seen some controversial posts created in business environments, and they're generated in order to create discussion. So this is just one more way. Also, if you have a membership organization, these tools are really great for member retention. So if you want to really grow your membership site, look at your members. Look at, are they blogging? Are they on social media? Are they podcasting? Are they doing webinars? If they're creating that kind of content and they're your members, it's a great strategy for you to use your social media channels to market your members. And that's what I do with the Speakers Guild USA site. I market my, I program out 13 tweets a day from 6 a.m. through 6:30 p.m. And several of those tweets are either showcasing one of my members' blog posts or showcasing their website or showcasing their profile on Speakers Guild USA. I want them to know, because they're part of my community, I'm working hard to give them the visibility that they're looking for. So building all these tools really helps in that. And now coming around to one of my favorite tools, podcasting and videos, just like we're doing right now, creating this video, but more importantly, creating live videos. So podcasting and live videos are your own broadcast station. So I could be kdeb.com, KDEB, for my station. And you're creating these visual aspects. What I like about podcasting is portable. I can take your podcast, I can put it on my MP3 player, I can take your MP3 file, and I can put it into the music folder of my phone, and I can listen to your podcasts while I'm driving, while I'm walking, while I'm doing my gardening, or I'm out there watering. I can listen to podcasts. I love podcasts for that specific reason. I can easily take that podcast with me and do something else and still get that knowledge. Live videos on Facebook, when you do a Facebook live video, you will create more engagement, and more visibility because of that Facebook Live video. So these are two tools that I really use to nurture my community. I interview my speakers on my podcast, Speaking with Influence. I interview for Michelle on Michelle's podcast site, and of course, my show is Speaking with Influence over there. But I interview people that Michelle runs into that she'd like to put on the show that might be a perfect guest for me to be able to interview, as well as bring in my own guests to interview as well. And I can't tell you, when you let somebody know that you'd like to interview them through a podcast, they're joyful. I mean, you took the time to let them know that their business was so important to you, or you liked it so much, what they're doing, that you want to help them by showcasing them on a podcast. And then at the end of my podcast, I know Michelle does the same thing, because, well, let's be honest, I trained her on this one. But
That's right, you did.
You're the expert. We send the code we use Blog Talk Radio. We send the code for them to be able to put a button on their website that allows people to listen to our interview of them. So we're the third party when we're the host of a podcast. We can ask them all kinds of questions that will support them in their business. To be honest with you, the secret to some of this is I work it out with my guests in advance, and I say, look, let me know what your 5 must-ask questions are, because I want to help you market your business, and I want to help my listeners get to know more about you. Who's going to say no to me? No one will say no. We're helping people using these tools. We are helping people in our sphere of influence get more visibility, get their message out, and have more people find them. Interviewing the community members, I mentioned that a moment ago. Very important. If you're in a membership organization and you have memberships that are involved, these people are looking in their membership not only to be supported in whatever the membership is around, but they're also looking to network. They're looking for more visibility. So if you're a podcaster, you need guests, you need content. And all of this content we're talking about goes all the way back to slide 1, blogging. Because you use a blog post to share the audio podcast that you did, because it embeds very easily as a player. People can come to your site, see the podcast post, they can play the audio right from the post. It's the same thing with the videos that we create through webinars. So you're really doing your membership a favor when you incorporate them into your content marketing strategy using these new tools. And then, of course, there's events. We've been spot on with these events with Connected Women of Influence. We've had Women Lead conferences. We've had Women of Influence awards. And we actually scope out a time. We have a videographer, a member who does videos. So she's in one room. She's got the camera. She's got a setup that Michelle has. It works really well. I'm in another room. I have the audio. I'm hooked up to Blog Talk Radio through the computer. And we simply do a live podcasting and live vlogging right there with the video, and be able to showcase the members who are at our events. One of the best ways you can showcase one of your events, give your phone to one of your trusted members and get Facebook Live going, and let the member walk around your event doing a Facebook Live video. Do it before the event when you have all the excitement of the event. You have people who are networking. You can hear the sounds of voices, laughter, people having a good time. The energy's really at a high level in your room. Just use some of these Facebook Live videos to showcase what's going on at your event, or have someone in the audience. If you're in front of the room presenting, have someone in the audience who's a trusted advisor or a member, have your phone, and do some Facebook Live snippets of you up there in front of the room. Facebook automatically works to build an audience for any of your Facebook Live videos. There were Google Hangouts on air. YouTube has changed that. Instead of Hangouts on air, it's now YouTube Live, I believe, or Go Live on YouTube. So they also have a platform that allows you to do this. You're going to see more and more platforms that are going to enable you to be able to do live video broadcasting. Now you're talking about a full broadcasting package or program that you can use not only to market your business, but to reach out to influencers in your industry, as well as to nurture members that you might have, or even strategic partners. If you don't have members, but you have strategic partners that you work with on a regular basis, these tools are great for cementing that relationship between your partners as well. And then, of course, my favorite one, educating your community. Your community wants knowledge. They want to know how to make their life better, how to make their marriage better, how to make their business better. We're always looking for help, any nuggets that we can get that will help make our life more enjoyable or our relationships more enjoyable. So educate your community through these tools. I guarantee you, even though I am a programmer, Michelle is not. And she has embraced all of these tools, and she's doing wonders with these tools with Connected Women of Influence, and you can do the same with these tools as well. So those are my golden nuggets for the technology. Now we come into the speaking. Nothing sets you apart more as a thought leader or an influence than the ability to be able to speak in front of a room and move people to action. So you want to definitely position yourself as a speaker and be able to speak as much as possible. And of course, if you look at some of these tools we're using, podcasting, doing video, those are all tools that also help us hone our speaking skills and our message. Now, it makes it a little easier because when we're virtual this way, we can refer to notes if we need to. But boy, if you can get out there speaking, you can, and you have a message that's compelling, you will be able to attract people into your tribe or your community very easily. So you want to be able to do that. Now, we don't go out and we don't speak and say, hey, look at me, my business is really cool, I can do all of this stuff. We're wanting to give them information that helps them be better in something, whether it's more successful in their life, more successful in their business, more successful with their health. There's all kinds of ways we can really inspire and motivate people by speaking to them. So speaking to educate and inform your community. I'm telling you right now, as someone who looks for speaking opportunities for speakers, that's what everybody wants. And if you can do that succinctly, and you can go to Toastmasters International, or Speakers Guild USA is getting ready to put its own speaker program together to help train with speakers, you will be able to really use speaking as a great way to move yourself forward. You'll definitely be thought of as a thought leader. Just look at some of the people who are probably well known in industries. And I'd say if you're on Facebook, you probably know of Mari Smith. She can pretty much get anything she wants because she's so incredibly knowledgeable about Facebook. She was there before a lot of us were. I think she started in 2007. I got onto Facebook in 2008, but she's definitely the queen of Facebook. So take your message, hone it, get out there and speak, because you can generate leads for your business, you can move your community, you can educate your community, and then make sure you include stories. People love stories. So anytime you can wrap a story up in your presentation and make it relatable to your audience, they're going to enjoy the presentation a lot more. You can even engage your audience from the platform if you want to and get them involved either through exercises or maybe some back and forth discussion about whatever it is that you're speaking about. But you want to engage them and keep them listening to what you're saying. And stories is a great way to help out. It also is a way for you to reach new members and build community. So when you're out there speaking about, for me, it would be speaking about how you get more visibility or become known as an influencer by using some of these tools, or how to find speaking opportunities. You're building your community. If I'm going out and speaking to a group about how you can find speaking opportunities, you can bet that there will be people in that audience that will want to talk to me afterwards. So it is a great way to build your brand. And if you are willing to speak for free, there are strategies that you can turn that free speaking event into a paid one through getting people into your email database, making an offer from the front of the room that they can take advantage of. So you can build your business as well as reach new members in your community and building your community. So just show them that you care. That's what they want. They want to know that they are important to you and your cause or business. So you want to make sure that they know that you care, and these are tools that they realize you're setting them apart by inviting them to do a blog post for you, inviting them to come onto your podcast show. I'm endeared to Michelle. She's invited me to talk to you about building community. So it's a good thing when you have a way to nurture your community and show them that you care. So you want to, again, blog about topics that are relevant to them. Again, subscribe to their blogs and share their content on social media. These are great retention strategies for you. And have them on, again, as your guest on the podcast, and then also give them the tools. So if you give them the button code that you get at Blog Talk Radio after the show is done, not only because your podcast, when you create it, you want an introduction, which we call an intro, and you want the ending, we call that an outro, and you bookmark. It's like bookmarking the audio. You wedge it between the intro and the outro, and the content is in between, whether it's audio or video. If you noticed when this slideshow started today, Michelle had an image at the front. I've seen the slideshow, so I know there's an image at the back. Those bookmark, really, they're like the capsule for the content, and they brand Michelle, or they brand the Speakers Guild. So you can do the same thing with yours as well. And those are my tips on nurturing, there it is, nurturing your community and getting more visibility for your business. If you are a speaker who is looking, or a trainer who is looking for more visibility, and you'd like to join our community at speakersguildusa.com, we'd love to have you. It's a great community. And this is the perfect time to join because we're on a growth spurt right now. So there's still a remarkable amount of visibility for new members over at speakersguildusa.com. So I encourage you to take a look at these tools. If you want to get started at blogging in a really easy way, go to the free WordPress site, wordpress.com. And if you really enjoy it, find a developer. If you need one, let me know. I can help you find a good developer in the community who will build a WordPress site for you and be able to take all that content from wordpress.com into your own WordPress site. That's the foundation of you being able to deliver your podcast content and your webinar content. So look into these tools, especially if you're looking to build and nurture your community. And thanks for taking your time out today and letting me share this with you.
That was awesome, Des. I'm going, yay! It was really good. And, we've got, I just want to give you some props on some things because, I mean, this journey has been amazing. And we've got some questions from some of our attendees. But, I can just, as you were going through the different slides, I'm sitting here saying to myself, oh my gosh, look how far we've come, as a community. And to me, it's like, from the radio show to the webinars, to the blog, to the videos, thank you because you were an amazing thought leader and sharing some great ideas, which I think I got about 5 other webinar ideas just from what you shared. So thank you. But here's some questions we've got from some of our attendees. And one of the first ones, which I was kind of like, oh gosh, we didn't really describe this, but Beverly asked, what's a community? So she says she's a business coach, but she kind of asked, what is a community? Is it an audience? Or maybe you can share some things on that and defining what a community is.
Well, so for Beverly, her community are her clients, her coaching clients, because they've already committed to her. Now, she could take that outside of her coaching clients. So she could have a private Facebook group just for her coaching clients, and she could use that as a way to foster relationships between them. And maybe they can do business together or they can be referral partners for each other. But then there's also the community that you have to reach out to in order to find your clients, your coaching clients. So let's say that you're someone who specializes in working with women who are in small businesses. So you find organizations like Connected Women of Influence. You find a Chamber of Commerce events are good events, Women's Wisdom, some of the other women's organizations. And as you start networking along there, that's the beginning of building your community. You're networking with people, you're talking to people. I run into people who do interesting things. Bethany Kelly is a perfect example. So Bethany is also a member of Connected Women of Influence. She helps authors be able to sell more books on Amazon. She is a perfect strategic partner for me. So I met her through Connected Women of Influence, and we've known each other for probably 2 years now. I don't know exactly how long she's been a member, but we just in April, we did a fabulous workshop where I had the speakers and the authors in my email list because I have a big list of speakers, and she had all the content. So we got together and we put on a in-person workshop on Amazon. So those people are part of her community, the people who want to be authors or have a book in the process, and she's attracting them to her community by giving them content that will help them get closer to that goal of being a published author. So that's kind of how I decide. Communities, a little different. You can have community as part of referral partners can be one community, networking. People that you meet networking that you just want to keep in touch with can be a different community. Your clients can be another community. So community is a gathering of people around a common cause, topic, problem, strategy. That's how I'd say it, Lois.
No, that was great. I mean, and I have to say, I never really understood what a community was. And you're like, Michelle, it's your members. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not get that right? I mean, it's like it's who you surround yourself with. So that was a great. And this is kind of like a little bit of a lead-off question. This is by Tammy, and she says, well, what if I don't have a big community? It's like, where do I start? What could I do if I don't have a big community?
If you don't have a big community, and Tammy, we all did not have a big community in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
I would say if you're really interested in building a community around a cause, thought, program, whatever, start with blogging. Because that's the best way. And most of you can probably know whether your site was built with WordPress or not. If it was built with WordPress, it's got a blogging feature in there. If you don't have it active, you can talk to your webmaster and make it active, or you could easily certainly reach out to me. It's as simple as creating a page on your in your WordPress dashboard, and we usually entitle the page blog. And then in your general settings on the left-hand side, you just go to settings and you go to reading. And that reading in the general settings tells you what page you're going to assign the posts to, and you assign the posts to that blog page. So once you get the blogging started, because it's very easy to do an interview with a strategic partner, a potential client, somebody that you met that you're interested in through just the blogging process. So you could send them a Word document with 4 or 5, 6 questions and ask them to answer the question, and you can use that for a blog post. Or take it the next step further and go to podcasting. I'm telling you, the podcasting on Blog Talk Radio is meant for people who do not embrace technology. When I first podcast, I spent $11. I bought a ticket to the International Podcast Expo, a weekend online up in my office on my computer learning how to podcast. And that meant I had to get a digital recorder, and I would go to the chamber events and I would interview them. So I'd speak into my little digital recorder with the question and then shove my digital recorder into my interviewee's face and ask them to answer the question. Then
I remember those days, Deb.
Yep.
I remember those days.
You have to download it, then you have to upload it, and you have to edit it, and you have to add the intro and add the outro. Then you have to export it. Then you have to, it's technology. Blog Talk Radio, you just sign up. You have a little call-in number. You call in. You put in the PIN number. It starts your show. You have a call-in for your guests. They call in. They talk to you on the phone. It is so easy to do. Just go to Blog Talk Radio. You'll be able to figure it out. If you can't, there's a whole help section there. You can reach out to me or Michelle. But podcasting and blogging are a great way to start, because if you're going to reach out to somebody that you don't really know, but you'd like to know better for some business reason or personal reason, and you say, "Oh, Jane, it was so nice to meet you the other day. I would like to get to know you better. I have a show that I do, a podcast called whatever it's called, and I would love to have you on as a guest. And it's just a simple phone call into my studio. Would you be up for that?" Jane's not going to say no.
Of course they're going to say yes. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So you started building your community. Yeah. And
that's how we started, Deb.
Fast way too. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say the radio show, I mean, it's like, you're going to change 10,000 different things. But when you first started us out, I went, what have I signed up for? And yet, once the rhythm and the system gets going, it's been amazing. So I didn't mean to interrupt on you. So go ahead with what you were saying on the speaking.
But what you've done too is you've empowered your members to be hosts, which is really good. And the speaking is, the speaking, every single networking organization, every Rotary Club, every Lions Club, every Kiwanis Club, every Women's Club, all these clubs that meet, they have to have speakers. So if you're somebody who feels comfortable speaking is a really great way to build your community quickly. When you're out speaking, what you should do, most organizations, the networking organizations and community organizations aren't going to be able to pay you to speak. So you have what we call the upsell at the end. And it could be as easy as you asking them to give you their business cards, and you put them in a bowl and you draw one of the business cards out and you give them something. Whether it's like you could give them a book, or you could give them a certificate for a free hour of coaching. Just, there's got to be stuff in or maybe you have a product and you have your product with you, so you're going to give away a few products. You can do that, and then with the business cards you get, you put those into your email service provider. So a MailChimp, Constant Contact, those are some of the more well-known ones. But you put it in there, and then you can start nurturing those people. You can reach out to them afterwards and answer any questions. Maybe somebody came up and said, I'd really like to talk to you more about your business. So don't think that just because they're not paying you to speak, that you can't monetize that event. You can by doing a drawing afterwards or making them an offer. When I speak, I usually tell them that I'm going to give away one free consultation, but if you're not the lucky winner, usually this is valued at X number of dollars, but for today only, if you take me up on it, it's at this reduced rate. So you
Wow.
can take that free event and turn it into a paid event. So speaking, blogging, podcasting, I'd say are some of the easiest tools to really start to use to build and nurture a community.
I think we've got time for just these last two questions, and I know you hit on it, but I think there's still a little bit of confusion. So Cameron was asking, is a radio show the same as a podcast? Different? Same?
Actually, I believe the more technical term would be on-demand radio. So yes, I mean you can. So of course you'd have to broadcast at this. Typically when you do a podcast, you want to choose a day of the week and a time. Now, with Blog Talk Radio, it's $39 a month, and you can pretty much broadcast anytime you want and as many times as you want during the day from what I've seen, and I've done that myself. I've held 2 podcasts in one day. So it's inexpensive, and you can use these tools anytime. What was that question again?
Just, is it the same? Is a podcast the same as a radio show? I think there's confusion on like what a podcast is, versus a radio show. I mean, you had to educate me.
Yes.
I was like, I call it a radio show, but it really is a podcast, right? That we do for Women Lead Radio.
Yes, it really is a podcast. A radio show, we liken that to getting in the car and turning on the radio. Or maybe we use Spotify when we're in the office, which is what I do. I listen to Spotify a lot. But yeah, it's not technically a radio show, although it comes pretty close, because even within your podcast, if you wanted to, you could have advertisements. So it's, you can create that, whether you speak the advertisement or whether you upload a separate audio that you play. Maybe it's a 15-second audio that an advertiser gave you. And that is one way to monetize your podcast as well, is by using advertising and creating little snippets of audio advertising. Or at the end of the podcast, you could say, this podcast was brought to you by. So it's the more correct term would be online, actually on-demand radio or on-demand audio, because you can listen to it at your convenience.
Yeah, and I like the title of a radio show because it's kind of a shiny light. People get confused on what a podcast is, but yeah, that was awesome. I mean, I got like 5 different webinars we're going to bring you back for, and just have you pull out the speaking. How can you do more blogging? So I know, I think the last question is, it's like, if you do some of these activities, are there any final thoughts on how to build community on social media? I mean, any maybe 1 or 2 final things, because this was fabulous. So that was a question from Terry on, are there other ideas that you might have on social media building community besides what you shared?
Yes, I've seen it where through a Facebook page, I've seen people holding summits where you bring, and you can do it now with Facebook Live. Oh my gosh, it's so easy with Facebook Live. So you could say, on June 15th, we're going to have a day-long summit on X topic. So maybe it's being your best self. And maybe you have a friend who does coaching for building confidence. Maybe they build confidence. And maybe you have a friend that does image, and they can talk about, how do you dress for success? How do you, what kind of accessories, makeup can you use? Or so you can take a look at what it is that you're doing. So for me, just for me, for building community, I could bring someone in that talks about podcasting at a more experienced level. I could bring in someone who talks about influence marketing. I could bring in Bethany to talk about books. We do it through this format right here or through Facebook Live, and you can create events around that using social media, especially now that you have Facebook Live. I have seen Facebook Live videos go on for hours. So,
oh my gosh.
yeah, I saw the Facebook Live that I saw yesterday. I'll have to talk to Laura and find out exactly what tools she used. But she and Janet were side by side when they were talking on Facebook Live yesterday, and they were talking about an upcoming event that Janet was marketing. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to create community using those tools. Twitter chats. There is a women's speaking organization Twitter chat on Wednesday nights on Twitter. And there's some tools to use that help you filter that stream so that you only see what people are chatting, and there's a format for that. So Q1 would be question 1 and A1 would be answer 1, and people would reference those as they chimed in. So yeah, there's a lot of tools that you can use using social media that can build a community for you.
You know, and I have one more question. This one's mine. This isn't from one of our attendees, but, you know, this is something I think for any of us, because I'm going to publicly share I'm 50-something, and I know so many women, Deb, struggle with how to stay up to date on technology, and I include myself on that, you know, but you are, I mean, I've known you for so long time. I've seen how you are always like at the forefront here of some of the latest and greatest. What would be maybe some suggestions you would give to others to stay on top of some of these things that are business, you know, add-ons or value-added pieces, you know, to get visibility and build your credibility? Because how do you keep up to date on all that? It's fascinating to me, just what keeps coming on the market. And I'm like, oh my God, just when I feel I'm learning something else, there's something new coming along, you know? How do you stay up to date on this stuff?
I subscribe to a lot of blogs.
Oh,
so I started subscribing to blogs in 2004 when I left McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill closed our office here in Carlsbad, so we were all out of jobs. And I thought, well, what can I do next? And I thought, well, I've been building these WordPress word sites. I'll do that. But so I started subscribing to blogs a long time ago when it was Google Reader. And then they took Reader away, so I migrated over to Feedly. Because I subscribe to so many blogs, and I've organized my Feedly account, and again, that's feedly.com. And all you do is in the search box, when you start it, you just put the URL, the web address in the search box, and it'll pop it down. And I think even over on my Debra Simpson channel at YouTube, I have a video on Feedly that you can check. But by subscribing to as many blogs in your area of interest, especially around your business, you're looking for the thought leaders. So when I'm in social media, I subscribe to Social Media Examiner, one of the best social media blogs you can subscribe to. I also subscribe to Social Media Explorer. I subscribe to a ton of social media. So I have a folder in Feedly for social media, and I put all the feeds that it's an RSS feed, as I explained earlier. I put all of those into the social media folder. So I have a client folder. I subscribe to all of my clients' blogs, my speakers. I have a strategic partner folder where my strategic partner feeds are. Because what Feedly does is when you open it up, it shows you of all the subscriptions you have in Feedly, it shows you the latest posts from all those subscriptions. And that's where you start to see things, you know, like people talking about new tools or new strategies. So that would be the number one go to. And then you can, just as you do when you go to Google and you put a search term in the search term box and come up, you can do that over at Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And remember that when we use the hashtag, which is the pound sign on our keyboard, when you use the pound sign in front of a word, it's called a hashtag, and it creates a link to content. So for instance, in Facebook, I have a great project I work on that's built around Vietnam War helicopter, a Huey helicopter that turned into a piece of art. And so I'm always looking for other things. Like, so I'll look for Vietnam War. So I'll put hashtag and then one word Vietnam War into the search box and see what I can come up with. So you really just have to be mindful about creating a source of news that's in your genre. And I believe the easiest way for you to do that is through Feedly, by subscribing to blogs that are the leaders in your industry, where instead of going out, so I don't have to go over and open a tab in my browser and go to Social Media Examiner and then go to a different one and do Social Media Explorer. Feedly brings everything to me. So it's really convenient. All I have to do is look through my folders. So that's the best way to keep on top of these new strategies. It's a listening strategy. So a lot of that's through hashtags, whether you can do it through hashtag.org. You can do it through the Google search box. You can do it through any of the Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, any of the social media search boxes, and start there. But when you find some blog that's really good and it's got content you know that you can use in your business to further your business, do yourself a favor and subscribe to it in Feedly so that you can always be notified by looking at Feedly when the new content comes out. That's the best way to be able to be an early adopter, and then follow early adopters. You know, if you follow Mari Smith, you're always going to know what the newest stuff is on Facebook. So, you know, it's the same thing. It's like I follow Convince and Convert blog for the newest content on content marketing. You know, so yeah, start subscribing to blogs. Feedly's, you know, you build it up after a while. I tell you, I can put my hands on new trends right away just by opening up my Feedly account.
Totally, Cal. Wow. Well, I can't thank you enough for being the amazing thought leader and influencer you were today. I want to thank all of our, viewers. This is one of many of our Women Lead webinars that we'll be bringing out to the forefront. So from that, I just want to say we'll be back again soon with our next, Women Lead webinar. And, our whole focus is how you can lead, achieve, and succeed as a female leader in business. So thank you, Deb, and we will be back again for another show.